What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your host, Derek Thomas here. And today we're going to be covering another video. We're going to be doing a reaction to another video. We are going to do a reaction on big mistakes foreigners are making in Medellin, Colombia by a popular YouTuber here in Colombia, at Joel's Colombia. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And let's just dive right into the video.
Come to Medellin.
The
There's probably
mistakes.
50 mistakes, but
There are a lot of mistakes.
we're just
Hold
going
up,
to
give
talk
me
about the
1
five
second.
biggest
It looks
ones.
like
So
the
number one
sound
biggest-
is. Hold up, let me get this sound situated. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I do these videos on the fly, so let me make sure everything's all set. All right, cool. We should be all set. Let's get that back in. Thank you guys for the patience. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into it.
Mistake
Big
that people make
mistakes.
when they come and live in Medellin.
One of the biggest mistakes is that people come to Poblado, to come to Medellin, they stay in Poblado,
Right.
and they just stay in Poblado for like 2 weeks, and they're like, wow, this is Medellin, and they go home. They don't experience anything else, and
Yeah.
therefore they never get a real understanding of real Medellin, right? Because Poblado is not a great representation of the whole encompassing city, would you say?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
like the
Poblado is like a bubble,
yeah.
basically. And
Yeah.
if you stay in El Poblado, you're not going to understand Medellin or even Colombia as a whole. So definitely want to venture. I mean, I think Poblado, like you've said it before, El Poblado is a definite. Is definitely a good way to wean yourself into
Mm.
Colombia if it's your first time in Colombia.
Yeah.
It's a good way to get your bearings, I guess, or feet on the ground.
Exactly.
But then once you're here for a couple weeks or maybe a month in El Poblado, maybe venture out into the new neighbor or different neighborhoods.
Poblado is like a taste test, right?
Yeah, it is.
But after that, if you really want to get deep into the Colombian culture, meet some more people who live, the everyday Colombian life,
yeah,
then you want to move into other neighborhoods like Laureles,
Laureles,
Belen,
even
Envigado,
yeah.
Centro.
El
if you really
Centro,
want to-
yeah, for the most adventures. I
Yeah.
lived in El Centro for a year and a half, and I loved it. Apart from living in Manila and El Poblado here, my second favorite place to live in the 7 different neighborhoods that I've lived in here over the 13 years that I've been here is downtown. I lived
Mhm.
in Las Torres de Bombona, and it's like a little city within a city there.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. Downtown is awesome.
I've heard many stories of people, foreigners, living and having a place in downtown, paying like, half or quarter of what you pay in Poblado and loving it. They're just
Right.
like, this is the real
Yeah,
shit.
downtown. Yeah, but again, a lot of pollution, a lot of noise, a lot of pickpockets. I never got pickpocketed, but you've just got to know how to navigate yourself.
Just a lot of chaos,
Yeah.
right?
Sabaneta, El Gringo says Sabaneta is a great place to live.
too. A
as
little
well.
bit quiet though.
It's way
depending
quieter.
what you want to do.
It's almost like a small town feel.
Yeah, it's more.
Yeah.
I think mostly I've just heard of like retirees in Sabaneta, right?
Yeah.
I don't really hear many
Right.
younger people hanging out there.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Sabaneta is still more of like an old town feel.
Mistake number one: have you?
All right, let me stop it right there. With the year that I've been living in Medellin, I've only lived in 2 areas. One area is Estadio, a neighborhood close to Laureles, and now I'm currently living in El Centro in Las Torres. Gentleman in the purple, he mentioned it. But when a lot of tourists come to Colombia, they do gravitate to Poblado. I mean, Poblado is essentially the party area. A lot of clubs, a lot of bars, a lot of restaurants there as well too. And usually when bad things happen to tourists, it comes out of Poblado, because when so much tourists are gravitated to go to that one single area and stay in that area, that's where all the scammers, the street girls, the druggings happen, because they're targeting tourists and whatnot. On the better end, Poblado has a lot of cool things to do, a lot of really dope restaurants. It's a Poblado is more like a it's it's not Medellin. It's not. It's part of Medellin, but I wouldn't consider it. Oh, I went to Poblado. I experienced Medellin. There's so much more to experience it. There's so much more different places like Envigado, Sabaneta, Robledo. Um, I've been all the way up Bejo. I've been as south as what's the name of that city south? I've been as south as I believe Sabaneta is south. I believe Sabaneta is south of the city because I remember I was trying to get a place with my wife in Sabaneta. Yep, Sabaneta is more located in the south of the city. I've been to Itagüí. I've been to as far as I've been to other places like La Ceja. Because if you don't know, I am a cyclist. I enjoy road biking. So typically, when I link up with my road bike friends, we would just go out. We would leave Medellin and we would just go out where another good place is Rio Negro near the airport. That's another good place in Medellin. But Santa Elena. But like I said before, um, two places that I've lived in Medellin is Estadio, Laureles, and Las Torres, which is near El Centro. And I loved both places. Estadio is a lot more quieter. A lot of elderly live in Estadio. Very beautiful neighborhood. Very safe neighborhood as well too. This I lived right next to the stadium, so when Atlético Nacional, which is a huge team here in Medellin, would play, I would always go outside. I always see everybody in their jerseys, the white and the green, and it was a good feel. Living out here in Las Torres, it's more since I'm near El Centro, is more of the hustle and bustle. I can hear buses and taxis and everything out my windows back here. Um, I live closer to the. I live right next to the tranvia, which is like the metro, which I believe it travels from from east to west. I could be wrong, but I believe it travels to east to west of the Medellin, and it's very convenient because if I need to go west of the city, I could just hop on that and then go. So, but there's many places other than Poblado to live in Medellin. Poblado is just the poppin' area of Medellin. They cater to more tourism. You would come across more expats there. You would come across more people that speak English there too. So when foreigners leave their country, typically Americans, Europeans, when they leave their country, they gravitate to Poblado because they're diving, they're stepping their feet in. They're like, all right, cool. I'm going to South America. I'm going to Colombia. I'm going to Medellin. Where can I go to where if I need something, I shouldn't have an issue on, language, or I shouldn't have an issue on getting foods that I'm familiar with. And Poblado is definitely the spot for tourists to go. I've stood in I stood in the immigration line, the customs line in the airport, and I've spoken to guys, and the first thing they say is, "I'm going straight to Poblado." And a lot of tourists, a lot of expats, when they come to Medellin, they stay in Poblado and they don't even explore out of Poblado. So when I mention places like Berlin or Corazon de Jesus, La Ceja, Santa Elena, Envigado, they're like, I don't know where that is, but I'm gonna stay in Poblado. So guys, when you guys come to Colombia or wherever you guys travel to, go see other things. Go travel outside the boundaries. Don't trap yourself in this bubble because Poblado is all you're gonna know. like I said, a lot of the druggings, the street girls, and the partying happens in Poblado. And if you're in that bubble consistently, you're gonna just come up with the assumption that, hey, Medellin's all about partying, street girls, and drugs. Which no, there's other things to see. I mean, I've been all the way out to, I went to Guatape. Um, I've been to Guarne, which are just other places outside of the Medellin area. So make sure you guys check out other locations when you guys come to Medellin, Colombia. It's very important if you guys want a better outlook, a better experience. You don't want to experience one area, you want to experience everything and then make your decision on if you like Colombia or if Medellin is for you or not.
Have you come to Medellin and only stayed in Poblado, or have you ventured and experienced some other cities? And did you actually understand that, oh, wow, there's much more than Poblado? I was missing out so much before because I only thought Poblado. I have seen in the last maybe 6 months to a year a big anti-Poblado movement happening as well, right? Have you seen that? Like a lot of our students actually said, guys, I don't want to live in Poblado. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, because it's people that have already been here and experienced that, and they're like, they know that that's not the real Medellin. They want to experience something more cultural, more local. So they want to, instead of living in a high rise in El Poblado on the hills where you don't even know your neighbors, you can live in a neighborhood like La Castellana or anywhere in Laureles, Belen, even in Manila is more of a neighborhood than most of the hills here in El Poblado, where you actually know all your neighbors. So number one was only staying in El Poblado and not moving from there. That's one of the biggest mistakes that people come.
I have a name for these people.
What's that?
Super gringos.
Super gringos.
The one that only
Super
comes to
gringos.
Poblado, only goes to the bar. What's it, Patrick's or whatever?
Yeah,
the
Patrick's
sports
or
bar.
Patrick's.
My bar.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a super gringo because I did the whole.
You're such a super gringo.
I did the
you
whole
didn't leave
tour
the
of Medellin.
2 blocks of here.
I say one thing. I don't cross the river. I don't cross the river. If you need me to do something, don't ask me to cross the river. I stay in.
Andrew's
Poblado.
too good for the rest of us now. You gotta be like me, living in the.
How am I gonna?
You gotta live in the streets, bro.
I walk with my Rolex and my big gold chain with my daughter's name on it. I don't have a daughter, but no, I don't do that. Don't do that. That's a number 2
That's
big
horrible,
mistake.
yeah.
You're a target
some
if you
days,
do that.
Andrew, being that I don't like Poblado, but you know that. But being that I don't come to Poblado much, I'll go weeks without seeing any foreigner except myself in the mirror.
All right, yeah.
Did you know that?
You go weeks without
seeing a foreigner.
Yeah.
Belen, Laureles, I don't see no one.
Yeah, here I see one every day.
Let's get to number 2.
And that's one thing that I want to experience when I came to Colombia, Medellin, is I honestly did not want to be around any Americans. I did not want to be around any expats. I wanted to receive the full experience of, I wanted to receive the full experience of Medellin, because naturally, as people, we gravitate to what we know. We gravitate to what we're comfortable with. I knew that if I would have stayed in Poblado, I would be around people that spoke English, and that defeats the whole purpose of coming to a Spanish-speaking country. I know expats here that's lived here way longer than me, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, and their Spanish is at the same level as mine. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't have the best Spanish, but I can manage to get around. I can manage to have conversations. I can manage to get things done, what I need to get done in the city. And for you to be out here for that long and your Spanish is not on point, your Spanish is not hitting, it's not, that's insane. But a lot of these people, they stay in this bubble of Poblado. They're super gringos. You say that, oh yeah, I mean, I love Colombia. I love Medellin. I used to live there. All right, where do you used to live? Where do you go? Oh, I just stayed in Poblado. You don't know Medellin. Come on, bro. You don't know Medellin. If you're just staying poblado, you don't know Medellin. You don't. There's more to see. There's more to do. Get out your bubble, guys. When you travel out here to Colombia, if you want to go to Poblado, go to Poblado. Have fun. Go to Poblado. Stay safe in Poblado because a lot of the action happens in Poblado. But travel out, go see new things, go experience different foods, go speak to different people. You don't want Poblado just to be your conclusion or your full summary of Medellin, Colombia, or Colombia as a whole. I know there's guys that are Cartagena boys. They love Cali, they love Cartagena, and they only go out to Cali and Cartagena, and they make their whole assumption on Colombia just based off of that one particular city, Cartagena, Cali. I personally haven't been out to Cartagena or Cali, but so I can't even make a full conclusion or a full a full conclusion or a full idea on what Colombia is like. But I can do that for Medellin because I live in Medellin.
Number two, in the biggest mistakes that foreigners make when they come here, not making local friends.
Not making local friends.
I
yeah,
see this-
just sticking to.
yeah.
That is
That's
true.
kind of on the same avenue of staying in Poblado, and
Yeah.
then a lot of I've met a lot of people here that their only friends are other expats,
Mhm.
and I've also met a lot of people that are here for maybe a year or 2 years, and then they leave
Yeah.
because they say they just weren't able to find a community. They weren't ever able to make like real connections with friends, and
Yep.
they just didn't feel at home. And that's because they never really ventured. Number one, they didn't venture out, and number two, they didn't learn Spanish.
True.
So like in order to make
100% true.
local friends, you have to learn some Spanish and at least try. But sometimes people just they get comfortable and
Mhm.
their routine, and then they're like, man, I have nothing here. Or their friends leave because a lot of expats do leave, or they travel a lot. So you're stuck in that same routine of trying to make new friends, and then they leave, and then you have to make new friends, and that gets boring and sometimes even lonely. Colombians as a whole are very cliquey.
I wondered if that was true, but I haven't really had that problem.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I think it just depends on how you approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just go to like the sports ground,
Yeah.
maybe play some sports with people, and
And
we just.
people, yeah, because you have a common theme.
Yeah,
a
yeah.
common thing and something in common.
I think that's the main thing. Like a hobby, you go to a hobby and you do that, then
Yeah.
it's good. But maybe if you're just trying to meet people on the street or the bar or something, they might be a
Right.
bit more clicky. Like, who
Yeah.
is this person?
right.
This is so true. Like I just said, I'm a cyclist. I have my road bike here. I travel with my road bike. Every time I need to go back to the United States, I take my road bike. When I'm here in Medellin, Colombia, I have my road bike. And road cycling is a big thing. I would say it's right underneath football. It's right underneath soccer. Road cycling is a big thing, and it's a hobby, a common hobby with Colombians where I'm able to make a lot of friends. Like I would have not seen a lot of these places if it wasn't for me just simply hopping on my road bike and going. And I see people and they see me and they're like, there's black guys on the road bike. And don't get me wrong, there are black people out here in Medellin, Colombia that have road bikes and do this sport, but it's not as common. So when they see me, they're like, "Hey, what's up?" or "Hola, cómo está?" And they're very interested because it's like, "Wow, you came to my country and we have something in common. You're not just the typical tourist or the typical expat that wants to go out, get drunk, get drugged, and get robbed, you know." And it's important to just I would say the best way to make friends in Medellin, one, learn Spanish. That's just main. One, learn Spanish. Two, find a hobby that you have in common with Colombians. Find a hobby that you have in common with Colombians. If you like playing soccer, that should be easy for you. If you like road cycling, that should be easy for you. Find a hobby, and that's the best way to make friends. A lot of expats, tourists come here and they complain, oh, I can't make friends, or the type of friends I'm making, they only want to just party and drink and whatnot. And it's like, yo, you need a hobby. You need some sort of hobby, because not all Colombians are partying and drinking. I personally, not all Colombians are partying and drinking. And trust me, these people can drink and these people can party. But find a hobby that you have in common with Colombians, and it's a lot. It'll help you. It'll help your Spanish, because Colombians, they're they're very patient if you don't know Spanish. Well, at least some of them. They're at least most of them. They're very patient if you don't know Spanish. If you let them know that, hey, I I don't speak Spanish much. I'm new to learning a language. They are willing to help you. They are willing to help you. But it's up for you to take the initiative on wanting to get the help. It's up for you to take the initiative of wanting to go out and make friends with local people.
But yeah, I've seen a lot of videos popping up lately, actually, like why is it so hard to make Colombian friends or something.
Yeah.
I didn't like, maybe you guys in the comments can have been here. Can you write about, because I honestly don't have any issue with that.
I
never
have
had a
no
problem
issue.
making
Basically,
friends, yeah.
the only foreigner that I spent a lot of time with is probably like a couple of our students and you as well.
Yeah.
And everyone else is Colombian. Like
Yeah.
I've had no issue with it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Same here. Pretty much the people that I interact with that are not Colombian are from the bar.
Mm-hmm.
But like in my life, for example, like my employees, my friends that I go out with, most of them are Colombian or Venezuelan.
I think
Yeah.
honestly, they're very curious, especially being from a different country. They want to know about you. They want to learn
That
about
is
your
true.
life. They want to get like an outside perspective.
Yeah, true.
It's been good for me.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Yeah, as long as you try, I
Yeah.
think you're good.
And often
Yeah.
I don't even have to try. Like I'm from Australia. Australians are very closed as well. We're very cliquey, right?
Yeah.
Like unless you meet someone 2, 3, 4 times, you're not really going to invite them out. But here in Medellin, I've just been talking to someone once, and they're like, "Take my number. Let's do this. Let's do that." They're very more likely to
Tienes WhatsApp.
meet up with you and
Tienes
initiate that
WhatsApp.
meeting. You know?
Yeah. So that's the biggest mistake number 2 is not making local friends.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But what's the problem with that local friends? You said like if you don't have local friends, why can't I just hang out with other Americans here? That's cool, right?
Yeah, I mean you can, but I mean again, you don't get the full feel for Colombian culture,
Mm.
and then
Like I said, that just defeats the whole purpose of coming to Colombia. That defeats the whole purpose on coming to a Spanish speaking country. If you're going to hang out with people that just speak your language, you could do that back where you're from. You really can. You could do that back where you're from. There's nothing wrong with hanging out with, with Americans. If you're out and about, if you're American and you're out and about and you see another American and he's like, hey, let's click up, let's link up. But if you're gonna come to Medellin and your only friends around you are tourists and expat, and you guys all speak the same language, you guys all do the same thing, and you guys aren't really diving into the culture, you guys aren't diving into visiting new places, you guys aren't, experiencing new events, different events that goes around in the city, because there's a lot of things to do out here in Medellin. There's a lot of things to do out here in Medellin, especially if you speak Spanish, or especially if you have a hobby. I speak Spanish and I have a hobby, so I have even more things for me to do. Like this coming up Sunday, I'm going on a bike ride with my doorman. There's a guy that walks around my apartment and he keeps everything organized, he keeps everything clean. And yesterday I was like, all right, cool, let me go on a bike, let me go on a ride on my road bike. I came downstairs on my road bike and he was like, que interesante. My Spanish is not hitting this morning, but he was like, how interesting. And we had a whole conversation. He was like, hey, this Sunday I'm gonna be riding all the way up in Bejo, let's go. He wasn't even like, hey, you want to go? He was like, let's go. And I was like, let's go. let's go. And and from there, that's a friendship. From there, that's me bettering myself, learning more about the Colombian culture, bettering my Spanish because I gotta speak with him. So guys, it's just important just to have a hobby. um I would personally say try to refrain from being around tourists and expats because that defeats the whole purpose. That defeats the whole purpose of you coming to Colombia and then speaking English. I'm gonna come to Colombia and speak English, a language that I already know. Wow.
You think that every Colombian is weird, or
Mm,
they're gold diggers out here, and I see it all. Like people that just stay in their little bubble of like expat or whatever. They then have like a skewed. It's like almost like, why the heck are you even here if you have this
Facts.
weird outlook on Colombians because you
exactly.
haven't infiltrated the culture,
Yeah.
and you don't understand it.
Yeah.
You're looking at it like almost as if you were living in the U.S. looking outside in, but you're living here. It makes no sense to me.
You
But
know how many people I see on these expat forums? They've lived here for like 5 years, and they're like, "I hate Colombians." What
Wow.
the fuck are you doing here? It's stupid, right?
yeah,
Number three.
yeah. Number three.
Number three mistake is living in the wrong areas. And this one is a little bit different to what we talk about, never venturing out of Poblado. This one could be as simple as not doing your research well, and then
Mhm.
maybe booking a place and living in, let's say, Sabaneta,
Right.
and then feeling isolated, right?
Right.
You've heard of many of these stories
Yeah.
because some areas are not so welcoming for new tourists as other areas, right? Can you explain that a bit, Andy?
Yeah, welcoming. I wouldn't say welcoming. I would say maybe catered to
Catered,
what a
that's the right
tourist
word,
what
yeah.
a tourist wants to do
Yeah.
here in Colombia. For example, if it's your first time, but you want to save on money and you decide that you want to live, and you rent out an Airbnb. I met someone at the bar actually that did this. He got an Airbnb in Robledo,
Mhm.
and I'm
Mhm.
like,
What?
Robledo's so far.
They have Airbnbs over
Yeah, they
there?
have
Oh,
Airbnbs, but
okay.
it's like super.
You
He
do?
got like a whole house for
Yeah.
like $300 a month.
Yeah.
There's like a whole like a 2-story house that he
Mhm.
rented out with like 5 different bedrooms and stuff. And
I understand that's way out of reach, Robelo. My Spanish is not hitting this morning. I understand that's way out of reach, but a whole house for $300 a month? That sounds like a pretty good deal.
a big
It's probably
view.
super
Yeah,
cheap
it
as
was
well.
super great view and stuff. But he
Okay.
said, man, it sucked because there was nothing to do there. It
Yeah.
was like this little neighborhood that was like not. He said it was cool in the sense that he really got the immersion of like Colombian culture, living in an estrato 3, which is low income neighborhood,
Yeah.
or a lower income neighborhood. So he got that immersion, but when he wanted to do something at night and stuff, he didn't really feel, that welcomed,
Mhm.
because people were working class. They're there to work and they live there, and there's not a lot of going
Probably
on.
not
There's
going to be
not,
able to connect with them that
yeah,
much,
there's
right?
no bars, there's no restaurants,
Yeah.
or there's very little. You have to travel a long way to get to something. So he made that mistake, but so he was there for a month and then changed to Laureles, where he said it was way better for him. So yeah, booking just based on was trying to save money into a neighborhood, you should probably research the neighborhood first, right?
Yeah.
That is
Hey, by the
facts.
way, if you're actually interested in moving to Medellin, we've put
And let me give you guys a quick comparison between Estadio and Las Torres, where I live, more near El Centro. Estadio was nice. Reason why I moved to Estadio is because I attended a Spanish speaking school also, which I'm going to leave the description down below. Great school. That's where I learned a lot of my Spanish, other than speaking to locals and speaking with my wife. But Estadio, quiet, very tranquil. Um, right there next to the stadium. When Bad Bunny came to perform in Medellin, I heard. I didn't go to the concert, but as how close I was to the stadium, I might as well should have went to the concert because I heard the whole album, Verano Senti. Um, um, Estadio's quiet. A lot of elderly people there, because it's very tranquil, very nice. I was in Estadio just because I was going to Olsa. Once I got my feet completely wet or completely drenched in Colombia, and then I was like, all right, cool. My lease is almost up here. I was like, let me move to the other side of the city, Las Torres, because my wife's family lives in El Pinal, which is just which is not too bad. It's up there in the mountains. You gotta go up a mountain. You gotta start headed up the mountain. But I moved to Las Torres and I honestly love it. I honestly love it. I mean, it's louder. I hear buses, taxis, and people talking. It's a lot louder, hence because it's more closer to the center of the city. But I like it. I like it more than Estadio. There's the tranvia is very close. There's a lot of restaurants around. I love it. I love it. Me being a black man living in Estadio and living in Las Torres. In Las Torres, there's a lot more black Colombians. So when I'm walking out my place, I I blend in more. I blend in more, very from Estadio. I'm not saying that there isn't no black Colombians living in Estadio, but there are more black Colombians here in Las Torres. So that's a plus for me. So when I'm walking out, I can blend in because me living here, the goal is to assimilate, is to just blend in as smoothly as possible. Camouflage. Because if I blend in as smoothly as possible, people won't think that I'm a tourist. People won't think that I'm an expat. They won't they won't pander me with things, or my likeliness of something bad that can happen to me drops because it's like, all right, he's a Colombian. You know what I mean? He's out here with me. He's a Colombian. So me moving over here at Las Torres was a W move because because there's more things to do here, and also I'm a black guy and I see a lot of black Colombians, so I blend in a lot easier. That's just a quick comparison of me just living in Estadio and me living in Las Torres. Don't get me wrong, Estadio was nice. Estadio Laureles is nice, was nice. It's quiet, very tranquil, very friendly people, and also it was a lot more access to where when I needed to go cycle, it was a lot more easier to access. Out here, when I'm cycling, I gotta go downhill. I'm flying downhill. The moment I step out my door, I gotta go downhill. I gotta go downhill, and then I gotta dodge all the buses and taxis and all the cars and motos to get to the areas where I need to get. Estadio was a lot more clear, a lot more less movement around, less movement around.
Together this Medellin checklist to help you out. Jump on the website medellinmasterclass.com/checklist. The link is actually in the description. This will really help you go real quick from 0 to 100 when planning your move to Medellin. So jump on and get that. We hope you enjoy it.
The number 4 mistake people make when coming and living in Colombia is a big mistake, and I think you've made this mistake: sending money to a Colombian bank account to pay for your expenses.
I've never experienced that.
So, for example, let's say you don't have a Colombian bank account, but you need to pay stuff, and you have a Colombian friend or a Colombian girlfriend or a family member or someone that does have a Colombian account, and you start sending them the money so that they can make the payments for you.
I do this all the time.
Yeah, so
That's a mistake?
That's a huge mistake.
Fuck.
Because if you keep sending money, if you send them money, they're gonna have to, and they report taxes.
taxes.
That's income.
Oh, that's not my problem though.
That's not your problem, but it's a huge problem for the person. And I'm particularly talking about larger amounts. For example, if you're sending $10,000 to someone's bank account, they're going, and I've seen this happen because people need to buy something or pay a rent in advance, and they have a Colombian girlfriend or boyfriend, and they send them $5,000, $10,000 in advance. Guess what? They're going to have to report that as income, and that's a huge mistake. One of the biggest ones that I saw recently was someone that was buying a property.
Oof.
And they sent about $50,000 to a Colombian bank account to their girlfriend, and then the girlfriend's like, "Oh, I owe $5,000 in taxes." He's like, "What?" He didn't. Yeah, Colombia does have rules.
Yes, that is a good thing, and I realize that's a mistake now because my girlfriend, as of last month, has cut me off from sending any more funds to her
Oh, I
bank
thought she
account.
broke up with
But
you.
she's cut me
You
off
sent me
because
too much money.
she's like,
wait, I've never heard of that
she
happening.
said,
A girl cutting you off because you sent her
yeah,
too
because
much
she's
money.
going over the tax bracket, so I'm going to make her pay more tax. She's just on the limit, and she said, "Don't send me more fucking money
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're going
So
to."
you got to go get your own account.
So now I'm trying to open my own account. Yeah,
Okay,
but I'll
okay.
have some more. I already sent in my newsletter last week that I was working on that, but I'll have some more updates. Okay, number 5.
Number 5. What is number 5?
When it comes to me accessing my money in Colombia, I use my bank card. I use my American bank card, and I go to Dividienda. Dividienda is more. It's more. I would say it's a lot better for foreigners and tourists to where they need to access large amounts of money, or if they need to withdraw a lot of money. Um, Banca Colombia it's okay, but it's just that the transaction fee is insane. Dividienda is nice. It's a bank. It's red, and the logo is like a house. It's like a house if you're familiar with it. But yeah, when I want to access my money, I I I have my American bank accounts because when I get paid, all my money is dropped into my American accounts. And if I need cash, because Colombia is a cash society, I'm gonna just throw that out there. Colombia is a cash society, so don't be expecting to pay Apple Pay and pay card everywhere, especially if you go to like small bars or small restaurants. It's a cash society, so it's always important for you to walk around with cash. Um, Hopefully in the future it gets more into using your card or using different methods of pay. I know they have another method of pay through Banca Colombia where it's like a QR code and whatnot, and they scan a QR code and they're able to send you money. Um, they're able to receive money through this QR code, and they're even able to pay for certain things with the QR code. You see the QR code a lot of times on the counters at bars or the counters at clothing stores and whatnot. So if you don't want to pay cash, but I just withdraw cash, whatever the transaction fee is at the time. It is what it is. I do that. I I don't have it as of right now. I don't have any plans on opening up a Colombian bank account. Probably once I start, looking to buy property, I'm gonna start doing that. But I'm completely fine with just withdrawing my money when I need it. I'm completely fine and just using my card on places that take a Visa debit card. So, but that's some good information to know when you're sending money to a Colombian bank account. That is considered a form of income. I mean, if you're gonna go send $50,000, $100,000 to somebody, that government's looking at like, yo, where are you getting this money from? We're gonna tax that. So, but to stay on the safer side, I personally would just use your Visa, Master, debit, credit card, go to an ATM, dividenda, in my personal opinion, and withdraw the money. That's what I do. And that's what I've been doing for the year and a half that I've been here, and it's been working out for me completely fine.
Number 5, I was going to say, is on the topic of visas.
Yeah, visas.
And we were talking
okay.
about visas. Is that people either doing visas with dodgy visa lawyers, or trying to do it themselves and getting it rejected? I've seen many, let's call it expat heroes, trying this and getting it rejected. And you got to watch out for the lawyers here, because a lawyer is not actually a lawyer. It can be just someone who processes visas. You got to ask them, are you actually a trained lawyer? Because there's a big difference, right? I had a mate who actually applied for a investment visa. He had been here 8 years in Colombia, and he got onto a visa lawyer and applied for this investment visa. And I forgot the details, but she didn't tell him one integral thing about bringing in the money or something.
Yeah.
And his whole visa got rejected. He lost like the $1,000 in application, and he
Wow.
had to immediately get out the country. And
Wow.
he had to pay a fine because he was illegal when he left.
Right.
So all in all, it cost him like $2,000, and he never got the visa.
That's insane. That's insane. That's insane. That's insane. that was a great video. Let's since we did a review, let's subscribe to the channel. It is Joel's Colombia. I watch a lot of his videos. He's really dope channel, man. Really good, dope. Hopefully that in the future we can get him on the channel, or maybe I can appear on his channel. But just touching up on the last part with visas. I was living in Estadio. I was attending OLSA to learn my Spanish. I had everything set up. I had my apartment. Had everything set up. I had my apartment. I was I just began dating my wife, Daniela, and everything was going great. And I was like, all right, cool. Let me apply for my student visa. So I applied for my student visa. I paid for the application. I also got health insurance while I was here, just to make sure that I'm all safe and settled. I gave them 6 months of my bank statements. Visa got denied. And nada. I'm talking about just denied. And they gave me 30 days to leave the country. And I was like, wow, it was pretty devastating because I was enjoying Colombia. I was really enjoying Colombia. And let alone, I signed the contract to my lease. I signed my lease. So it wasn't like I could be like, hey, speak to my landlord. Hey, my visa got denied. I need to break this contract. There was none of that. There was none of that. It was like, damn, I have to leave the country. I still got to pay for this apartment. I had my relationship with Daniela, and I was in shambles. I was in shambles, but I stood calm and everything played out. My visa got denied. It was all good. So I left the country. I left the country. And I could not apply for another visa for 6 months. For 6 months. And I'm talking about I couldn't apply for a marriage visa. I couldn't apply for a business visa. I couldn't apply for any type of visa for 6 months. But fortunate enough, I still had some tourist days on my passport for me to be able to travel back and forth to Colombia. Went back to the United States for a month, gathered all the information that I needed for my marriage visa, because about that time, Daniela and I was already about 6-7 months in, and I asked her, hey, let's get married. You know what I mean? Let's get married. At that time, I already knew all her family members. I already knew her mom. I knew her sisters. I knew her cousins. She knew my mom. She knew my brother. She knew my family members. So I was like, let's get married, because with a marriage visa, that's harder for them to deny. But either or, I had to wait the 6 months to apply for the marriage visa. And I will have a video talking about how to get married in Colombia, because I did the whole going to notaria, I getting my birth certificate apostille translated into we're gonna save that for another video. But yeah, my visa got denied. I applied, my visa got denied. I left the country, came back. I was traveling back and forth. Finally, I got my marriage visa, and I'm able to stay in the country. I'm able to live here now. I'm able to live in here now. And today I go pick up my my cedula, which is like my Colombian identification. So I'm official. I'm official now, because once you have that cedula, it's like, all right, cool, I'm official. So I believe when I leave the United States and I want to enter back into the country, I don't even have to wait in the tourist. I don't even have to wait in the tourist line. I believe I could just go into the Colombian line and get in, because those who's traveled to Medellin or to Colombia, that line to get into the country is just, it's long. It's long. And yeah, so with visas, I had an agent that I had a credible agent that worked with a lot of the students that went to the Spanish school that I attended to learn my Spanish, and she hooked me up. She took great care of me. She did my whole paperwork. All she just told me was where to submit it and what to pay. And she set up my appointment for my cedula. So she W her, W her. I'm going to I'll leave a link down to her information down below. So if you guys want to have anything done with visas or anything like that, she's the one. She really helped me out. She really helped me out. She met Daniela. She knew I was dating Daniela. So she was like, all right, cool. She was happy to file. She was happy to help me with my marriage visa because she know the relationship I had with my wife was real. But that was a great video, guys. Big mistakes foreigners make in Medellin, Colombia. And I see you guys like the last video with the scope girls. So I'm gonna keep trying this out, the reacting to different YouTubers channels that live in Colombia or that have traveled to Colombia. This was your host, Derek Thomas. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.